It is August 1st. And I just want to say to anybody watching right now, my name is Laci. I am your real estate relocation bestie, if you will, when it comes to moving to Las Vegas. And I have made it my life's mission to help you and anybody who's interested learn how to relocate to Las Vegas and live their best damn life. Who am I sitting here with?
Yeah, this is Cody Lewis. I'm a native to Las Vegas. I've been here my whole life, and I've been in the real estate business for more than 20 years and have been coaching and mentoring agents for about the last 12 years of that. And have this really cool thing called Synergy Community that I'm sure we're going to be talking a little bit more about in the future here. But just it's fun to be on with you again, Laci. I do have to say, what was the first thing I said to you today? What were the first words I said to you today? I said, it's August.
And you freaked out.
When
Let
we
me just
thought
sound
about doing this, that seemed so far away, and now it's already here.
Well, let's talk a little bit about what we're doing. For those of you who are joining us live, again, my name is Laci, and we're here with Cody Lewis. Cody is a mentor of mine in the real estate industry, and he and I have really started to collaborate a little bit more over the last several years, honestly, just to kind of educate each other, but also really try to understand the market from all angles. So we're here to talk not only about Las Vegas real estate, we are here to talk about being a realtor, the side that the realtor needs to understand, being good realtor, right? Doing the right thing by our clients. As a client, understanding what we have to think about for you as your realtor and your expert, that you've enlisted to help. And then at the end of the day too, we're going to talk about some things that are happening nationally, just in general, as far as like the housing market goes and things that are relating to us. The reason Cody was freaking out today that it is August is that I, about a month and a half ago, challenged Cody because if you've been watching my channel for any amount of time, I've been urging him not politely to do more live streams and to get out there because he is such a wealth of knowledge. And I think that anyone, whether you're a buyer, seller, or a realtor, should have access to that knowledge. He has been very resistant. How are you feeling today, Cody? Because we've come up with a
Uh,
plan today. We came up with a challenge.
it does help having a plan. That does ease my fears just a little bit. But I do feel like I'm the person that's been like, blindfolded and dragged down into the basement. I don't really know where I'm at. I'm sure that
We're
by
gonna
the end
have
of
fun.
August, I'll feel a lot
Yeah.
more. I'm hoping I'll feel a lot more comfortable.
Awesome. So, for those watching, we are going to be talking today about top seller and buyer myths, about that agents need to bust so that they can communicate with effectively with their clients, but also for you as a buyer and seller, myths that are probably leading you down the wrong path. And we just want to clear the air, if you will. If you're watching live, please do me a huge favor. If you're a realtor or if you are a buyer or seller or someone who's like just new to either of our channels, please know that we are going live on both of our channels. Cody has a channel called MBA Farmer where we are building up some content that really I believe is going to help the realtor community. And as you know, I am Las Vegas Gal. I'm always putting out content that's hopefully going to help you understand how to live your best Las Vegas life. Please drop it like it's hot in the comment box below. Let us know which side of the fence you're from. And if you have questions, this is for you. The entire point of these live streams is for you. The challenge that we have come up with for ourselves, that I came up with, that I'm forcing him to do, is that we are going to be both of us going live on our individual channels and platforms every single Monday through Friday, every weekday through the month of August. Look at him take a slow drink like he's really nervous about it. Every single day. So Monday through Friday for the rest of the month, you can count on me being here on my channel. Cody will be on his channel. There may be times where we're doing it together. We're really excited about that. We've come up with some really hot topics and deep, deep conversations that everyone deserves to hear the same answer to. Not if you're a realtor and a buyer seller, you don't get different answers. We're all hearing the same thing. If you're watching us live, we really do want you to participate. So if we say something you don't agree with, let us know. If you have something you need answered, let us know. And if you're watching it on the replay, we'd like you to do the same thing every Monday through Friday. Please don't get burned out. I promise it's worth it. We're going to be coming in with very different topics on both channels. So please stay tuned. And Cody, how are those? How's the gag and the hand ties doing? You need me to
Yeah,
loosen those hand ties?
I should have put some handcuffs on just to
Yeah.
make sure I was really feeling in character for this
Yeah.
thing.
Cody, before we get started, and we're going to jump right in, we don't want to waste too much time, but what do you hope realtors are going to walk away from this experience with on your channel and with your platforms?
Yeah, what I love about this concept and what we're going to do is that this applies to realtors, not just in the Las Vegas market, but any real estate agent, literally anywhere in the world, really. I mean, obviously, we do things a little differently in different markets, but
Yeah.
it really applies to everybody. And what I really like about this is that sometimes there's this us versus them idea out there amongst clients or amongst realtors, like, oh, sometimes I'll hear realtors say, I've got to like convince my clients of this thing, right?
Ugh,
And
no,
we
no,
just
no.
we just can't convince, we just can't forget that when we represent a client, we are representing that client's interest. We're on the same side of the table as that client. And so
Right.
having conversations about topics like this that impact both the client and the realtor, and seeing it from the viewpoint of both the client and the realtor, I just think it's a really healthy way to be going about this.
All right. Well, for anybody watching my side, I just really hope you get a lot of good information and that you don't get sick of my face. So let's see how we do. Again, drop it like it's hot in the comments. We're going to intersperse those comments throughout the conversation. Let's get started with myth number one that buyers and sellers, clients, that the world is looking at right now. It's a very hot topic in Vegas right now. Myth number one, everyone's fleeing Vegas and it's about to become a ghost town. Woo! Everyone's leaving Vegas, mass exodus. Ugh. Let's talk about why in Vegas, this is a Vegas specific one. Why is that even coming up right now for you, Cody? What's happening in the world that you've heard about Vegas?
Well, the first thing is that the numbers have been so good and the economy has been so good and things have been so good for the gaming industry for so long that everybody just feels like the other shoe has to drop, right? And
Hmm.
so there's just sort of that sentiment out there when the market has been really good for a really long time. That's very natural. It's a natural way of thinking.
Yeah.
Then when we actually do start to see a little bit of numbers that are not just tippy top, highest they've ever been kind of numbers, the comparisons start happening, the headlines start happening. Headlines are really good at playing into what I was just saying is the general sentiment amongst people sometimes. And so, yeah, we start to get a little bit of momentum in the negative aspect of things.
Now, I want to just piggyback on that. And I love that you were general with that statement because this applies to both tourism and housing. There are negative connotations and headlines, and everyone feeds off of the negative. Both sides of that coin are out there. So first and foremost, one of the things that I saw, it was as of today, it was updated. It said Las Vegas tourism troubles deepen as visitor counts drop 11.3% in June.
Yeah.
Oh, there also was on the housing side. There was a headline that said something to the effect of inventory rises spikes 76% above last year. How people are fleeing Las Vegas. Nobody wants to live here anymore, or something of that nature. So on both sides of the coin, what I would take from that as someone who's not in this every day is, oh my God, Las Vegas is in trouble. What's going on over there? Tell me how you approach this mindset when you're looking at things, and especially when for me, I'm very sensitive to headlines because I just know that a lot of it's BS. But tell me what your take is on. Let's talk tourism first.
Yeah, well, the first thing I'll say is that when I was doing all of my college studies, I had a statistics class and we read a book that was called How to Lie with Statistics.
Mm,
And it just showed how you could take the same graph, the same data set, and the way that you spread the graph out or squeeze it in or do it, how the dimensions of the graph could tell a totally different story.
right.
The scale of the graph, those kinds of things. And so anytime that we start to use the numbers to try to understand things, which I'm a numbers guy, I love to do that, it's important to really understand what are those numbers and what are they trying to tell us, right? So when we
Mhm.
say it's a percentage increase, well, it's a percentage increase off of what base?
Right.
And what was going on for that base? So for example, what was the statistic that said we were down 11.9%? Was
It was
that
something.
visitor
There was.
volume?
I think it was. Let me find it. I think it was something to visitor count drops, visitor volume drops. Yes.
Yeah, so visitor volume, you have to remember that we're comparing that to 2024. And does anyone remember there was this one little thing that happened in Las Vegas in February of 2024? Oh, it was the
Super
Super
Bowl.
Bowl, right? So when you have like a really big and also last year was a leap year, right? So that was at the
Yes.
beginning of the year. And I know it's just one day that's difference, but that really does impact into the numbers. And so when we're comparing this year to date versus last year to date, what were the events that happened? Have there
Right.
have there been fewer of those big events, those kinds of things? It's
Right.
important to ask that.
Yeah, and we're not here saying it's all rosy and things are amazing in Vegas. We are seeing a decline by comparison to year over year, and we feel it, right? We feel it when it comes to tourism because you can tell what, it scares people here, I should say, because a lot of people assume that Las Vegas is completely 100% reliant on tourism to drive our economy. Yes, that once was true. However, right now, in the history of Las Vegas, there has never been more dollars devoted to development of the city outside of the gaming industry. So entertainment still yes, but also other developments are happening that don't have anything to do with either entertainment or gaming. So I'm not going to sit here and try to tell you guys to think it's all the negative headlines are negative or are wrong. It's just to have some context and some perspective about what that really means. And what goes up sometimes usually comes down, depends, right? But usually it'll come down. And so you have to look, you can't look one year over year. Sometimes you have to look 5 years over a year or 3 years over a year. And just to know what's impacting it. So yes, tourism is down. Let's talk about tourism as it reflects on housing. So I can tell you right now, I've been in this business for 9 years almost, and I've lived in this city since 1989. And I can tell you that we have had some of the lowest, craziest, holy crap moments, is pandemic, things like that, when it comes to tourism. And those were the years that our housing was soaring, skyrocketing. Nobody could make an offer without 50 other people against their offer to compete with. So it does not always directly affect tourism to housing. There's not always a direct effect. There is an effect, though, over time. Sentiment, conversations related to job loss, job creation, things of that nature. But right now, I don't personally think that tourism is a direct effect on what's happening with housing. I think they're two very separate conversations that happen to be happening at the same time. And we'll talk through housing in a second. What's your take on that, Cody?
Yeah, so my family, we moved away from Las Vegas for a little while, moved back in '87. That was a lot of years ago. And I was a little kid. And so for my entire life, at least the part that I can remember paying attention to, I've been hearing these headlines about what's happening in gaming. And sometimes
Yep.
they're very positive, sometimes they're very negative. And there have been lots of times in Las Vegas's history where
Right.
gaming revenues have been down. And I will tell you this about the executives who are running the gaming industry. They are really smart people and they
Yeah.
have figured it out every single time, right?
Yeah.
So adjustments will be made, and Vegas will continue to be Vegas. And when we take a
Yeah.
long run approach and you look at that in the long run, it's lot less concerning. You
Yeah.
brought up one thing that I want to just touch on really quickly here, and that is that job growth really is a very good indicator of what housing demand is going to be, because
Hmm.
the number one reason that people will relocate to Las Vegas or to any city is because of jobs. And so we are seeing also that Vegas is becoming much more of a retirement destination for people, which I think will help us and will be less reliant upon the gaming industry.
Right.
Uh, but yeah, I mean, all of those things are things we definitely want to be watching. But it's a myth for sure to say that people are fleeing Las Vegas in droves right now.
Right.
We're just not seeing that, and the
Right.
housing business continues to do really well. The prices are
Yeah.
still up.
So let me just touch briefly, just so that we can wrap up the conversation related to tourism, because I do want to talk about inventory in the housing market and what's happening with prices. Here's the reality. Drops in international visitor and hotel occupancy has definitely been happening. We've seen a bit of a difference, but to Cody's point before, we were having a high heyday for a while. So of course there's going to be some adjustment. This is going to be the same sort of thing we say about housing. Soaring prices and hidden resort fees have definitely played a major role. F1 came to Vegas. We've had a lot of the Sphere opened finally a few years ago. The Super Bowl. We've had a lot of noise in the world about Las Vegas. So a lot of people are more aware of Vegas, are more excited about Vegas. So of course that has surged people coming here. When those things slow down, or the financial, economic anxiety and geopolitical factors are happening around the world, things are going to be affected, right? So soaring prices and hidden resort fees are a big reason why I think people aren't coming. The economic anxiety, I think, is another component. At the end of the day, pricing is pushing some of those visitors away, and a lot of the economy talk and the negative headlines are a big part of it as well. But at the end of the day, it's not always a direct correlation to housing until, to Cody's point and to my point before, it's an immediate impact on our job loss creation, all of that. But again, keep in mind, Vegas has more than just that to offer.
And
So
there were some
oh, go ahead.
studies that I'll see if I can find these and bring them onto some of the future live streams that we're going to do. But lots of times the housing business, the house prices do very well in a recession.
Mhm.
In a
Mhm.
general national recession, the real estate market will do really well. So
Yes. When bad news out in the world means good news for housing usually, which is a sad thing, but it's true. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. Awesome. So let's move on and talk briefly about inventory. So yeah, the headlines on the other side of the coin, not tourism, are about inventory. Again, if you guys are watching live, please do us a favor, drop it like it's hot in the comment box. Let us know you're here. Let us know which side of the fence you're coming from. If you're a realtor or if you're a buyer or seller or someone who just loves Vegas, we really want to say hi to you while we're talking today. But let's talk about inventory, Cody. We are seeing a bit of a lift in inventory prices or inventory counts in Las Vegas. Again, same sentiment before. We've had no inventory to work with for as long as I've been a realtor. As long as 7 of the 9 years, 8, 9 years that I've been doing this has been, oh my God, we're low on inventory. A healthy market offers between 4 to 6 months worth of inventory to work with. And what that means is that's the number of months it would take to burn through every single house that's listed on the market if no new listings hit. So what I've been operating within is I started in the industry in 17 or 16, 17, I can't remember. And I have seen 4 months at the time, 5 months, and then it went down to 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 1 month, 1 month, 1 month, 2 months, 1 month. So we've had no inventory to work with. So when there's nothing to choose from, no options as a buyer, everyone's clamoring for the same thing. Prices have to go up, things, and then add on top of that low interest rates, and it's an S show, if you will, right? Let me bring up briefly, if you don't mind, Cody. June 2024, this is last year, June 2024. We only have June stats, just so everybody watching, until about a week from now, and we should have July stats. But right now we're working with June. We've got up for the top section in blue, units available, up 11% year over year, almost 12% year over year in the units available. That's the number of months available. A year ago, we had only 2 months worth of an inventory available in single family units. Look underneath both of those numbers. The 2 months, it's up 22% from the previous year. So it's 2 months is up 22%. Holy crap, the year before was a desolate year for finding a house, right? And up from that, 4,100 was up 11%. So we were already up with that number. Now, if we run over and look at June this year, let me add this. This is June 2025. We are up 70% and up to 3.6 months. Again, this is as of June. We're up a little bit more since then, but we're only up to 3.6 months worth of inventory in single family housing as of the recent data that's been released. My point in bringing this up, Cody, is that we're still not in a market that is like everyone's leaving, everyone's throwing their market, everyone wants to sell and get out because they know that this market is crashing. We're nowhere near that. 4 to 6 months is a healthy, balanced market where sellers are getting a good deal, buyers are getting a good deal, and everyone seems to be happy. When we get to 7, 8, 9, 10 months, okay, we're talking about a different story here. What's your take on the inventory currently?
Yeah, it's really hard for me to really say to a buyer or a seller what that inventory number means. It can mean lots of different things, and it's only one of many factors. What I can tell them, though, and this is what I encourage realtors to share openly with clients, is let me tell you what it feels like right now in the market. Right? What does it feel like to be a buyer trying to find a house? Can you find the house? Can you negotiate a good deal? What does it feel like to be a seller? Can I get my house
Right,
sold right now? Am I going to get
right.
really beat up by the buyers? Right. And I am very grateful that we are not back in this less than 1 month of inventory kind of a world, because that's really very unbalanced and makes it really tough for the buyers in those situations to find what they want and to accomplish the thing they're ultimately trying to do, which is to land in a really good place, which is a
Right.
home that's going to be good for their family.
Well, it excludes a lot of buyers as well, right? Those who don't have mattress money to pull out and compete against other buyers and things of that nature. We are not in a scenario, and we'll talk a little bit more about this later, to where sellers are in trouble. We're just not, and we are not in a scenario where you can name your price. We're not quite there yet, and we'll talk more about that later. The bottom line Inventory up is amazing for buyers. Inventory up is, I still think, amazing for sellers, as long as you're willing to do what it takes to work with the right team, to price your home the correct way, and to get a house ready to sell like we used to have to do in the past. Long gone are the days, or not long gone, but soon to be long gone are the days where sellers can slap a house on the market, no matter if with dog poop in the backyard and a smelly kitchen, and get it sold for top dollar. I'm sorry, but I would prefer, and I think on both sides of the coin, that that is not appropriate in any scenario, and that we should never be in a scenario where that's an exciting thing for anyone to be a part of. We want people to be happy with what they're buying and happy with what they're selling and feel good about the process, because karma comes around, my friend. So if you're selling that house that's got a smelly kitchen, no problem, and poop in the backyard, you better, let's see what you step into when you go to buy, right? So I just think it's important for us to always understand that it has to be balanced for, in my opinion, it needs to be balanced in order for this to be an appropriate economy for the city to continue to grow. And we're there. We're still there. Briefly and only briefly, and I want to add this back up. This is I want to look back here, 2024. Our pricing, again, we only have June numbers. We will bring July numbers in about a week and a half. June numbers just for the top blue section, 475 for the sold amount, how much people were selling houses for. 509 is what people were listing houses for a year ago. Let me just say this out loud. Look at the difference between those two numbers. Even a year ago, when we only had 2 months worth of effective availability, the good houses were selling. The ones that were priced right were selling. The ones who were a little trying to be, 3 years prior, the sellers that were a little delusional, not quite sure if they should listen to their realtor or whatever, were having to eat a little crow even a year ago when it was supposedly a better market, quote unquote. Now, let me just remind you, let me back up here. This is 2025. 485, 519. Those numbers are not very different, and we are a year later. And so with everyone out online saying 70% increase in listings and everyone's fleeing Las Vegas, if everyone was fleeing Las Vegas, how come we're not seeing that in the price point? If everyone was fleeing Las Vegas and tourism is down, it doesn't really affect housing. But if it was going to crash, how come it didn't crash already when all of these things with interest rates over the last 2 or 3 years have come up and the visitor volume has started to go down? How come we're not seeing that, right? I'm not here stating that we are never going to see an adjustment. I love the adjustment that we're seeing. I think it's better for everyone, but I just need everybody to get out of the habit of believing what I have listed on the screen right now. What's your take from a realtor perspective, and how realtors should be saying this to their clients so that people understand that we're coming from a place of like education?
Again, this comes back to like, what does it feel like? What are we seeing and experiencing right now in the marketplace? And despite all the different numbers, when you have a great house that you display the right way, you showcase it the right way on the market, and it is desirable by buyers, it's desirable by buyers, and the demand still remains high. We've sometimes seen weirdnesses in the market that we think becomes the norm. And so the weirdness in the market for a little while has been that you could put a property out there, price it too high, or not do anything to make it be better than the competition of the other houses that are competing against your house, and it would still sell, and it would sell quickly, and it would sell for top dollar. And that's a weirdness in the market that we started to think that's the norm. And so now that we're going to the norm, everybody's saying, oh, now there's a weirdness in the market. Well, no, actually, we're just getting back to what should
This is
always
actually the
stay.
real deal, right?
Yeah, I mean, you have to, I think this is like, what would this be like, marketing 101? You have to have a good product to sell for it to sell.
Right, right. Absolutely. All right, let's move on. We've spent a lot of time on that first one, but that is a loud, loud sentiment out there. I don't know that we answered all questions. So if we didn't, please, even if you're watching this on a replay, drop it in the comments. We will definitely address it, because once again, Cody and I are going live Monday through Friday, every single Monday through Friday on his channel or mine. Not together always. We've got some really cool nuanced discussions that don't have anything to do with each other, but we're doing this, and we're doing it big in did I say July? In August is what I meant to say. In August, all this month, we're going live. So we will address it at some point this month.
Hey, for
Let's
one of
move on to
these,
the,
for
oh,
one
go
of
ahead.
these myths, can I be the one that says drop it like it's hot in the comments? I got to get
You
used to
should.
saying that for
All
when I'm
right. Well,
doing this on
that's
my
my
own.
saying. You have to come up with your own version. That's a
I
Laci
can't steal
saying,
it.
sir. No, you can if you want. It's just going to look nerdy as hell on someone who is not
I know.
this vibe.
Did you see how it wouldn't even really come out of my
No.
mouth? That's just so not me.
Cody, I know you want to be cool like me, but
Yes, I
it's
do.
not going
I
to
do.
happen. Okay. Myth number two, the smart move is to wait until rates hit 3% again. Cody, how many people have you spoken to, realtors and buyers, sellers, who have said, I'm going to wait for the rates to drop before I buy? How many have you spoken to?
Yeah, I mean, we hear that a lot because people got used to them being so low. And let me just say that like nobody knows what's going to happen with rates, but I will say I'm just going to go out on a limb and predict it's not going to be all the way back to 3% for a long time. And if it does, it means something else really bad happened that
Yeah.
we wish didn't happen. So let's not be
Horrible
hoping for
economic
that.
impact. How horrible economic, like something like, I don't know, a pandemic happened so that they could use that to stimulate the economy. So to your
Yeah.
point, let's hope that doesn't happen. So just a few points on this that I'm going to speak to, and then I'd love for you to jump in. You know, the biggest thing is when you, and I say this on my channel all the time. So if you watch me all the time, forgive me for the repetition, but waiting for the rates to drop even a smidge will bring 4 million buyers off of the fence across the nation. 4 million buyers are sitting, maybe it's more now. That was like a stat from a year ago, waiting, 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 waiting. I'm letting you know right now, they're never going to be three again. And if they are, God forbid, what's happening in the world if they do? Even if they come, so right now we're in the sixes, somewhere in the sixes, I believe. I'm not a lender, so I don't know, but somewhere. Even if they go below the six and they have a five in front of them, even if it's 5.99999, when I tell you the impact on this market, I've seen it. I've seen it twice now, actually three times now. I've seen it three times now. Hold on to your wig, clench your pearls, my friends, because we are going to be in a crazy seller's market, back to where buyers are being outbid 50 to 100 offers on each and every home. Investors come back into the market. Not all of them. The smart ones will wait a little longer, but they all know, the smart ones know they're not going to, that rates aren't going to go much lower than what we're talking about. We are equalizing as far as rates go. Please do not wait. The goal of on our side for as a buyer representation or even a seller is to know that people should be buying right now because it's a juicy, crunchy time. There are deals to be negotiated. There are deals to be had. There are incentives out there. Buy. And I always say, marry the house and date that rate. Go on a hot date with that rate until you need to find a better rate and then refinance that later. There are programs that will allow you to do that almost free of charge. There are programs that will allow you to do that with sound mind from a lot of different lenders. So at the end of the day, be smart about this. Buy the house when you have options to choose from. Please just take it from me, who has watched buyers lose their hope and their dream of buying a home because they just got priced out. And know and trust me that it might take a minute, but as soon as those rates do drop, those prices will start to follow, and the inventory that we're all excited that is up 70 something percent, which is not that much, it's not really, goes away. What are your takes on a realtor side of things and how you would talk to buyers and sellers?
Yeah, so what I find interesting is that lots of times the same client who is the one saying they want to wait for the rate to come down is also the same client who's waiting for the prices to crash.
Yep.
And
Yes.
I'm not saying it can't happen, right? Because occasionally it will happen like that, but usually those two things they don't go hand in hand. And
Mm-mm.
so especially if like, when you're sitting there at your local barbecue and you hear people talking about the real estate market, people who are not in the business at all.
Everyone's an expert on real estate, by the way. I don't know if you know. Everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. And the question I always kind of think to myself is why have the prices been going up still in Las Vegas in this high interest rate environment? So when the interest rates went way up, we did see this like little pause where everyone was sort of figuring things out. But once we got past that little pause, we've seen basically the market just shrug off higher interest rates and in Las Vegas continue. Well, the only way that that can happen is if the supply and demand curves are dictating the fact that prices are remaining strong, even though that interest rate has gone up, right? So
Right.
if that has happened during an increased interest rate time, what is the likely outcome when interest rates go down? I mean, the likely outcome is that a lot more buyers come into the market. It pushes
Yep.
that demand curve up really hard. That's likely to drive a higher price in the market that sellers can get for their houses.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, I'm a realtor and I know you are too, Cody, who always puts our clients' interest before ours, as we should. That is our absolute ethical obligation to the entire experience, our professional obligation. I'm just here to be very open and say that I don't know that everyone got that memo sometimes, and so I'm just going to be very honest and let you know that I'm not here saying buy now, buy now. It's the best time for you. You know how you're going to find out if it's the best time for you to buy and if this is the right thing, the scenario matches up to you. Is if you scan that code as a buyer or seller who's interested in moving to Vegas or who lives here already, scan the code on the screen, set up a conversation with me, and we will one by one on mano y mano, if you will, line by line, look at your scenario and decide if it's the right time to buy. From a real estate perspective, as a realtor, if you want someone to help educate you on how to properly approach this conversation, please go to the, where do you have your link, Cody?
I think it's in the description of wherever this
Oh,
is.
sorry. Excuse
Uh-oh.
me.
When Laci starts sneezing, it sometimes doesn't end.
Oh, sorry. I think it's in the description of the video for today.
Yeah.
And I think for future videos, we'll do the same thing for you. We'll put a little QR code. If you're a realtor that needs help with your business and wants to learn how to properly express this to your clients so that they're educated, please contact Cody. I know that you're really good about mentoring, and I know that you're open to doing that. So thank you for that. We're not here to push you to buy. We're here to get you to contact us so we can figure out what's right. Because God forbid you try to use TikTok or something else to tell you how to do this. Trust me when I tell you that's not the route to go. Okay, I want to move on because we've got some really good juicy stuff. Let's talk for a minute about common financing myths. So myth number 3 is a bunch of stuff. I'm going to run through a few of them. Cody, you are very knowledgeable not only on the real estate side but on the lending side. So I'm going to throw these at you and you tell me your answer. Is that cool?
Okay, sounds good.
And realtors, listen up. This is how you should be answering these questions. Okay, ready? Here we go. Pre-approval requirement. A lot of buyers think that they can just go look at houses and that they can do any and all of that without a pre-approval. What say you?
Yeah, so this is one of these things where sometimes people think the clients sometimes think the realtor is lying to them about the fact that we want a pre-approval of some fashion before we go see
Right.
houses. It is not like there's a law that says you have to do this. And there's not even
Correct.
like a policy that says that you have to do this, but this is just good common business practice that before you go and look at houses, know what you qualify for, know what your target is so that you know what you're looking for. And there are sellers out there who won't let you come see the house unless you send them that in advance because they want to make sure that they're not disrupting their whole life to let you come see the
Mhm.
house when you're not actually really qualified. So I'm during the month, I can't even remember which day it is because this has been crazy planning for this, but I'm going to be interviewing on my channel a lender, and we're going to be talking about mortgage bombs and how to avoid them. And you can only avoid those things if you're looking at this and asking yourself these questions early in the process. So I think it should be a law. I wish it were that way. But
Yep.
definitely that's something that you want to do as a buyer. And as an agent, you definitely want to be able to explain to the client why that's so important for them.
Yeah, and it's so funny. I had a person reach out to me as a lead who is a quote unquote $2 million buyer, and I'll just be very open about this. As a realtor, it gets exciting when you're talking to somebody who's in the higher luxury type market because that's like a bigger payday for everyone. It's a different kind of experience. You get to look at dope houses, like it's really cool. However, my rule of thumb is you must have a pre-qualification, and it's in that realm. It's even I would even take the risk of showing someone a house possibly if they were in that just to see the houses honestly in that realm without a pre-approval. However, while it's not a law, it can be a law in the listing, and the listing agent will list it. And 99.9% of the time, for anything above 900,000, they want a pre-approval prior to.
Yeah.
So I had a client recently reach out and actually say that I was lying and accuse me of just making that up and claiming that it was a law. And I said, no, I actually said exactly what I just said to you. It's not a law. It's my law for business. However, I was even willing to like waver on that law because I kind of wanted to see this house that you sent me. However, they said no. And so that client went away. And as a realtor, I can just tell you that's a minute. That's a minute that it takes to like, did I just lose a bunch of money? It's the whole FOMO mindset, if you will. I didn't lose a bunch of money. That likely what that possibly what that person was either a real buyer or someone who was coming from LA into Vegas for the weekend with some girl or guy wanting to impress them, taking them to look at houses that they were going to maybe be buying to then amplify their experience with that person. I've had this happen many times early in my career to where it doesn't really turn into what you think it is, and it wastes your time, it wastes the seller's time, and it really puts you in a position of where now you're just following up with a dead lead and someone who was BS to begin with. So we really really do. If we're here requiring that we prove that we know what we're doing by showing up with content, telling you the good stuff, being consistent, we expect the same thing in reverse from our clients. And frankly, if I was a seller, even if it was a $300,000 house, I would be asking for pre-approval. Just no need to
Yeah.
waste my time.
I love
Okay,
how you
next
said
one,
that
down
because
payment.
oh, sorry. I love how you said that
No, no, go
because
ahead.
I sometimes tell sellers, you don't want to be part of the parade of homes without knowing that you're part of the parade of
Yep.
homes.
Yep. And the LA dude bringing a girl, or LA gal bringing
Right.
friends to impress. Can I tell you how many times? And I smell it. I smell a rat when it's starting to happen. When they reach out, they find me on YouTube, and I go, oh no, and so as soon as you ask for something, it turns into well, why do I need that? And that's not a law. And and it's like, it's a law in my book, sir. So,
Yeah.
or ma'am, because it's been a girl before too. Okay, next
Yeah.
one, down payment. Down payment. I know Cody and I had a moment, we were talking earlier, where Cody's like, there can't be that many people that still believe this. And I'm letting you know, Cody, there are still there is still a large percentage of the United States who believes that you must have 20% to qualify to buy a home down payment, or realtors who believe you must have 20% to qualify for a conventional loan. Would you please break it down for us?
Yeah, that just simply is not true. We do this literally every day. I would say, in fact, I bet you that more than 2/3, maybe even higher than that, of our buyers are not putting down as much as 20%. So FHA is known for being 3.5% down. There are even conventional programs out there now that are just 3% down. Used to
Yep.
be
Yep.
5 was kind of the lowest for conventional, and now we're seeing as low as 3% down. And then obviously there's VA and some USDA loans where it's 0% down. That's like a nice VA benefit
Oh,
for our
what a
veterans.
beautiful benefit. Isn't that awesome?
Yeah. Yeah, it really lets a lot of people accomplish what they want to with home ownership. And I love that this is possible because I just feel like home ownership is something that everybody should be striving towards.
Absolutely. And I know there's a lot of negativity out there, and owning a home and renting is better, and all these other things, which we're going to talk about in a minute. But the reality of the situation is home ownership is a long-term investment. It is meant to build over time. TV, as well as the internet, has made it feel like it's supposed to be an impulse buy that you get money from immediately. And higher markets have delivered. So it makes it really difficult for us to have that conversation. But be as a realtor, be strong, be consistent with your message, because it is the truth. Make sure you know the truth before you do that, but it is the truth. And then, as sellers and buyers, work with people who you can tell are authentic in their message, and that don't waver, and that don't change their tune depending on what's hot today. um, the other thing I was going to say is that a lot of people have a tendency to believe that you have to have perfect credit to buy a home. You absolutely do not. And the only way you're going to be able to understand how much that's true is if you scan the code on your screen, or you reach out to a lender directly. You need to speak to the expert in that realm to understand your specific scenario. And nothing in lending at all is a blanket statement. It just can't be. It just can't be. So, debt to income ratio, credit, some of those loans take credit down in the 500s, things of that nature. So you just need to have a one-on-one conversation about your scenario before you know. Some of the other stuff, Cody, I'm throwing at you. People think that you have to work in the exact same job, that you cannot have changed jobs in the last 2 years if you want to buy a house. I actually had 4 people in the last year say, I hate my job, but I'm waiting. I have 3 more months until I've been there 2 years. I hate my boss. I hate my job, something of that nature. But I really want to buy a house, and that's why I'm calling you. And I'm like, quit the damn job. Do you have other awesome, other prospects? Yeah, I have an opportunity to make more money, same industry, same job, but I have to stay in this job until I buy a house. And I was like, oh my God, why do people think that, Cody?
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely recommend not changing jobs during the mortgage approval process. But yeah, and again, this is more of a lender specific thing. The rules on this are quite nuanced. The Fannie and Freddie guidelines on this are quite nuanced. And so I don't claim to know all of those things all the time. But generally speaking, if you're doing something that's in the same line of work, and even sometimes I've seen it where it's like, I'm like, that doesn't seem like the same line of work to me, but it
Hmm.
was considered to be by those guidelines. So yeah, it's just not true that you have to be in the exact
Right.
same job for a full 2 years.
Yes. Once again, scan that code if you're a buyer or seller. We really want to educate you, but the line of work is a nuanced conversation. There can be letters written to help people tie the two together. It's about the lending team feeling and solid, basically, that you're not going to lose your job 5 minutes after you get the house and that you're going to be able to make your payment. That's the bottom line. So helping tell that story is really important, and finding a lender that can help you tell that story is a really important thing.
Yeah.
The last couple things are that you have to live in the city that you're trying to buy in for 2 years before you can buy a home. Don't know where people get this idea. I'm going to answer this one. Sorry, Cody. You don't have to answer it. I
Go
have
ahead.
helped thousands of people, thousands over the last 8, 9 years, whatever it is, relocate to Las Vegas. And they have bought virtually. They have bought in the midst of changing jobs and moving to the city. They have bought without ever moving to the city as an investment. You do not have to live in Las Vegas to buy a house in Las Vegas. A lot of people also assume, as a part of that, not only that you have to live here, that you have to be a first time, in order to be that first time home buyer programs are like the best thing you could ever get when it comes to lending. And I'm just here to tell you, first time home buyer stuff is great. There are some things that can happen for you as a first time home buyer, but that is not always the best route to go. And those are not always the most lucrative experiences from a lending perspective. And also that people think that FHA loans are only, I thought this before I got into this industry, that they're only for first time home buyers. Have you heard that?
Yeah, I've heard that a lot, and that's also just not true. I've
Not
seen
true.
lots of FHA buyers that,
Busted.
yeah, busted.
And then the last thing, I think we talked about this before, was down payment assistance. A lot of people assume that's free money. Will you talk about that a little bit? Because I think that's even on the realtor side, people think that.
Yeah, in the lending world, they call these DPA loans, down payment assistance, right? And here's what I've concluded about DPA loans. If you can qualify to buy a house using what I'll call a normal mortgage, you should do that instead of DPA, which sounds crazy because down payment assistance means somebody's giving you money for your down payment. But there are other costs that are associated with those loans, like the rate is much higher, and there's oftentimes an upfront fee for those kinds of
Oh,
things. Then there's rules about when you can or cannot sell your house. And
right.
so I've just concluded that for some people, that's the only way. That's a great way to get into a home. You should do it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if you can just do a regular loan, lots of times, almost every time I've done all the calculations, it makes more sense financially to just get straight into that regular loan because it just is less costly to do it.
Right. But so free money is not always free money. So make sure you're asking those questions, that you're working with a lender who is going to be very direct and open, and you have no surprises.
Yeah, I get to
Okay.
use the line I heard from my first day of Econ 101. I'm an econ major. My undergrad was economics, right? There ain't no such thing as a free lunch. That is true with DPA programs.
True, 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 true. I love it. Okay, done with the financing myths. If you guys are watching this live, I just want to reiterate, I'm going to go back to the beginning. Even if you're watching on replay, Cody and he's my mentor. We've worked together on a real estate side of things for a long, long time. And I am obviously very focused on helping people relocate to Vegas. But we've had so many conversations over the last few years that have been like, why are people not having this conversation in the same room? And it's stuff like this, right? Realtors have a tendency to go into a closet and talk to each other, and then buyers and sellers feel like they're being left out of the information. So we both agreed that in the month of August, we're going to be committed to going live every single day, Monday through Friday, every single Monday through Friday in August. God help us. I did have to gag and bind this guy's arms to make him do it. But the goal is for him to start speaking more to realtors, to open up their minds to what they need to know to be the best that they can be for our clients, for me to do the same, to give you guys more information about relocating. But there's going to be moments where we do what we're doing today, where we come together and we make sure everyone knows it's on the table. There's no secrecy in this conversation. We want everyone to hear the same answer because it applies across the board. And that's our effort to pour into, skip a stone, if you will, across the lake of this industry that we're in, and create a ripple effect of honesty, authenticity, and just education. So if you're watching this on replay, please comment. Let us know how we're doing. Tell Cody he looks great and he's doing a great job, and leave me out of it, but tell Cody he's great. If you're a realtor, you better be subscribing to what he's got going on. If you're thinking about moving to Vegas, whether it's now or 10 years from now, I don't really care. I just would love to give you some good solid advice from a person who bleeds neon. If you cut my arms open, it's neon, baby. I'm creating a neon rainbow of a Dexter style scenario that happens. But I just love it. I love the city so much, and I'm very, very open and honest about it, even to my own detriment sometimes, but I am. We're here to just be here for you. So comment right now if you're watching live. Let us know where you're watching from. We want to say hi. Give us questions. Throw something at us. Try to stump us. We're going to keep going. We got 2 more things to cover, and then we're wrapping this up, and then day 1 is done, my friend. Did we get to celebrate today?
Yes, we do. It's Friday, right?
Ooh, I'm treating it like a Friday after this. I'm going to the pool or something. Where's my wine? Anyway, okay, next one we're going to talk about is sellers are desperate. We talked about this a bit earlier. Sellers are desperate. You can name your price. Myth number 4, right now in July or August 1st, 2025. This is a myth. It is not true, but let's talk through what that looks like because there's a lot of different types of sellers. Um, Builders are a different seller than a resale market. Cody, let's talk about that from a real estate perspective as understanding your competition for realtors and also for buyers and sellers, understanding what options you have.
Yeah, let me just talk real quick about builders first. So builders don't ever want to decrease the price of the houses that they're selling relative to ones they've already sold. You can see why for their customers that are already in the community that are there, sometimes they're living in those houses already and the new houses being built. If those were being sold for less than what they had bought for, that'd leave a gross taste in their mouth. So builders like to show that with each release of lots in their community, the price is either staying the same
Yep.
or slightly increasing. And so the way that they get people in when demand is decreasing or when it looks like the price should be going down is by offering incentives. And so what you will see that same thing happening amongst the resale sellers where they're offering to pay for closing costs or other kinds of incentives. And so the really good agents are aware of what those incentives are from the builders and knows how to get those best deals for their clients.
Yep. The other thing too is, I built my career on selling new homes as a resale agent, which is a very strange thing to say out loud because it was whatever. Somehow, because whatever I was showcasing and however I connected to the needs and the desires of people who were moving to Vegas was with the new home communities, and becoming an expert on all that is incorporated in that experience is super important now more than ever as a realtor, but also for you as buyers and sellers. The entire idea of incentives from builders being like the end all be all, and they're going to buy my rate down to 4.9% and pay my closing costs is sometimes a farce. And you just need to be aware of that. Sometimes it's great. Sometimes you can absolutely take advantage of those incentives. But you as a buyer and seller need to know that having an expert represent you in that conversation is more important now than ever to make sure that you don't get given the runaround and then canceled after you've put money out. And there's a lot of nuances and a lot of loopholes. And then as a realtor, understanding your competition and understanding like what you're up against when you're listing homes for sale and what you need to be prepared to be discussing with your clients, the reality of the situation and how to be approved for those incentives and what it's going to look like is more important. It's vital at this point in time. It's really, really vital because those builders can make it really difficult for sellers these days. And there's no reason for it. We've all got a beautiful product. It's about how you package it.
Yeah, and from
Go
a
ahead.
buyer perspective, you really do have to have a strategy on making offers, right? Even in this market where it's a lot more balanced towards the buyer side of things, the highest offer doesn't always win. That's one of the myths
Correct.
that we want to bust today. In fact, we had a listing where the sellers got sort of mad at a buyer, and because of the antics that they were doing, they were playing all sorts of games with us. And they would not even listen to any offers, even when that buyer was offering more.
Right.
Like the buyer was raising their price of what they were willing to pay. That seller just said, no, we're done with that person. We have no
Yep.
interest in talking with them
Yeah.
anymore. And the other thing you have to understand is that for sellers, it's not always only about the price. It's
Correct.
what's the total deal, what are they going to net, and what's the timing. Lots of times people are
Yep.
trying to move out of a house, move into a new house. Does this buyer help accommodate my timing? And so sometimes you'll see a lower priced offer get accepted over a higher priced offer because it matches up with their timing.
Yeah, I actually just had it. We just negotiated a really sweet deal for a client, almost 200,000. This is not normal. This is not, please don't assume this is going to happen for you, but
Results are
almost
not
200
typical.
results are not typical, asterisk, almost 200,000 off of the asking price of a very expensive home. Because of timing, because they wanted to get out at a certain time frame. They wanted things $200,000 savings, and that didn't come because we just asked for it. That took a lot of negotiation, a lot of psychological conversation that had to happen, and really good deep thinking, and really experience and expertise. And what I love is I was able to connect with my friend Cody here, the mentor of all mentors, and we were able to together combat the conversation, or sorry, approach the conversation in a healthy way, combat any things that came up that might have been detrimental to the buyer's experience, and find a happy medium. And it was more than a happy medium. It was really happy on the buyer's side, and the
Yeah.
seller still feels good about it because they're getting what they need.
Yeah.
So it's good. Okay, so for me, at the end of the day, the takeaway for you as buyers and sellers is there's opportunity in the market. It's not desperation. We're not talking about desperation, and we probably won't be in a desperate mode, a buyer's only market for several months and several more months worth of inventory, which I don't know that that's going to happen. Not here in Las Vegas. There's still a high demand for people moving here. It's just a juicy, crunchy time to get a good deal and for everybody to leave with a smile on their face. And this is the kind of market that I love. I love so much.
If
Rates
you
could
are
be
the
lower
buyer, if you are the buyer that has been waiting for this market, it's here.
right now. And I always say to people, the rates could be lower, and that would be great, but the rates being lower don't give us this moment right here. So for buyers and for sellers, I feel like we're in just this really kind of euphoric moment. We're almost there. At the end of the day, for agents, I just want you to, listen into Cody and listen to how we're speaking about this stuff. Balance those expectations and timelines. Cody of all people can help you use the right words and the right vernacular to make sure that people feel heard and also feel educated at the same time. So I just love
Yeah,
that about you,
Laci,
Cody. You've made me so much smarter.
let me just share with realtors so they understand that what you're saying is really genuine. I teach 100 hours a year of live CE classes to realtors,
Yep.
and I teach those classes for free. I get nothing from it, and I'm sharing with them supposedly my secrets that's going to make these other agents
Yep.
be competitors of mine and be able to beat
Yep.
me and whatever, right? I just don't see it that way, right? So I really do encourage realtors, if you're watching this, go to the link and schedule some time with me, and let's just have a discussion about what you're facing, what challenges that you're having, what things you wish you were better at, what conversations you think you need to be able to have better with your clients. I am totally willing to share those things.
Thank you, Cody. And that's because you're so willing to share that. That's how we connected. And we connected through some of your educational courses, which have been huge for my education in this industry and have helped my business a ton. But what I love I mean, I even teach classes, and people think I'm teaching the wrong thing about marketing your business because it's mind-boggling to me that people, even in our own industry, assume that we're doing them dirty when we're just trying to help all of us rise together. But at the
Yep.
end of the day, like, your earnest approach to how this works, and wanting to see us all win as an industry as a whole, has been inspiring beyond words. And that's why I know you created the synergy community that now I'm a part of, and I'm just so grateful for. And so, not just Cody is not the end all elixir that's going to fix the issues in your business, but what he has built, that I am now proud to be a part of, really can help get you there. So it's a really beautiful community and collective of agents that really want each other to win. And we're just trying to, like, it sounds like a cult, to be honest with you. I'm saying it out loud. It sounds like a cult, but it's really just a bunch of agents who are really rooting for each other and willing to help. So enough of that. Okay, next one, and the last one, and this is my favorite, Cody, and we're going to wrap this up in the next few minutes. But somebody said to me the other day, you can learn everything you need to know about real estate from TikTok and AI and Zillow. I took the word real estate out so it would fit on the screen, just so you know that's an incomplete sentence, but I did that on purpose. But you can learn everything you need to know from TikTok and AI and Zillow about real estate. Listen, my friends. I am not here saying I am the end all be all. I have all the answers. I am an expert in this industry, and so is Cody. We all are experts in our own right. Let me just tell you, I love AI. I use AI for a lot of things. I know Cody does as well. I know a lot of people are relying on AI to do things that maybe we should just double check that a little bit more.
Yeah.
Even today, for this specific live stream, I asked AI to provide some things to me that are very easily Googleable, that you can just Google and say tourism numbers for Las Vegas. And AI gave me the wrong answer. It gave me like 2020 numbers, right? Did not give me up to date information. In addition to that, I was trying to genuinely not tell AI to say that you should always use a realtor, but I was genuinely like, hey, AI, tell me, what are some common questions buyers are asking to skip the realtor in the experience, or even sellers? And some of the stuff that it brought up was like, oh my God, I pray to God nobody is relying on AI to do this for them. Can I tell you a few of those, Cody?
Yeah.
Okay. One of them was stuff like, what are the best neighborhoods? What's the safest neighborhood? That's all
Mhm.
easy. Like, that's great. Have fun. Some of the ones that made me so nervous were, how much should I offer on a home listed at 489? How do I negotiate with the seller without a realtor? How can I get closing costs covered by the seller? Or this one was my favorite. Let's see. Where'd it go? Chat GPT and Zillow. Can you help me buy a home? Huh? What? What? There's a contract involved. What are we talking about? What's the best AI tool to buy a house without a realtor? If we get to a place, which we may get there someday in our industry, hey, realtors, listen up. AI is here. It's not going anywhere. But if we get to a place where AI is so damn smart that we can use AI to buy a home, amazing. What AI will never be able to do, I don't care what anybody tells me, is do the first thing that I said, which is negotiation and pricing. How much should I offer? How do I negotiate? Can I get closing costs? What should I do? What's this house really worth? Hey, what should I offer? Like all the stuff that we have to apply, mental, psychological, like there's factual data. All of this is so much deeper than just a blank black and white answer. What's your take on the whole AI or Zillow or
Yeah.
TikTok component?
So Zillow piloted a program. They tried a certain thing in Las Vegas, and it was called instant offers. And the idea of this was that they would provide a platform where buyers and sellers would come together, and there would be an agent involved, but the agent's role was not to advise either the buyer or the seller, but to just handle the logistical paperwork stuff.
Because AI
And
can't do that. Yeah.
it's a long story about how this happened, but they asked me to help them pilot this. So I was the agent who did the first ever instant offers transaction in Las Vegas, and we did probably, I don't know, it was a handful, 5 or 6 of them this way, right? And here's what I learned about that. Buyers and sellers, they do have lots of questions and want to be advised, and they need that advice, because just bringing them together without anybody there to facilitate those conversations, understand how it works, why it works the way it works, and then negotiating is all about human nature, and it's much more of a psychological thing than it is a science. And so I I just realized right then I wanted to be a part of it, because I wanted to see, oh shoot, could we get replaced with this kind of
Hmm.
technology? And I just realized that there's so much to it that is very human natured,
Yeah.
that is needed. These clients need us as realtors, and clients are smart to rely on their realtors' advice because they know what they're doing. At least they should know what they're doing.
Absolutely. Well, let me run through. And again, I'm not here to debunk AI. I use AI for a lot of things. Please use AI for black and white kind of information. But when you want something that actually is giving you advice, especially about the largest purchase in your entire life, here's some things that can go wrong. I'm going to show you my screen if that's okay. Can you see this?
Yep.
Okay. So I just asked, I said, where did it go? I said, show me examples of downfalls with this approach, because I actually asked a moment ago for better. Here's what it says. Here's negotiation and pricing possibilities. What the buyer thinks. I'm going to offer 30,000 under asking because ChatGPT said the average home price in the area dropped. What actually happens is they base their offer on outdated and generalized data, not understanding micro market nuances like upgrades or lot premiums, things that we would know to ask and consider. They offend the seller, making a weak offer, losing the home entirely, or worse, overpay because they didn't know how to spot an inflated priced house. No agent equals no negotiation leverage. The listing agent is representing the seller, not them. Real world example, an AI tool shows his estimate of 460,000. So the buyer offers 455 on a 475 home, but the home had 80,000 in custom upgrades and was priced competitively. The seller accepts a stronger offer that came in and they lose out on the house. Here's
Yeah.
another one. Outdated information, which I got today. I was literally asking for something that I Googled and got it faster, and ChatGPT gave me 2020 information. Buyer thinks the home still says it's available on Zillow. So I'm going to go drive by and check it out. What actually happens is it actually went under contract 3 days ago, but third-party platforms haven't updated it yet. They fall in love with the home. They can't even make an offer on, and they lose precious time not looking at what's truly available. And worse, they're relying on AI and search results pulling from outdated listing feeds. So a buyer spends 3 weeks driving homes from a website that hasn't synced with the MLS. By the time they call a showing service, they're mostly pending or sold. They're frustrated, misinformed, and weeks behind serious buyers who are working with an agent. Bottom line, trying to DIY a home purchase using only AI tools feels empowering, but it could cost you thousands. And at the end of the day, like we're going to talk a little bit more about like what that looks like in the future. But honestly, we want you guys to be informed. We just want you to realize that this is a heavy industry with a lot of regulation and a lot of nuances that we would love to be able to guide you through. The other thing too is most of the time, especially in a market right now, we are able to negotiate for the seller to cover the costs that it would be to work with us as buyers agents. Not always, it's not guaranteed. But if So if you're doing it to save money, you may not have to do that to save money and still get the full package, if you will. So, what's your take on TikTok negative videos, as well as like the Zestimate that people try to use every day to like, or the lowering prices and dropped prices, assuming that we have a bad market online? Tell me your take,
I
Cody.
am so happy you brought up the Zestimate because you know the famous story. It's been a lot of years now, but you can still Google this and find this article where it talks all about it. The CEO of Zillow sold his home in Seattle for $700,000 less than the Zestimate. So it was
I'm
like
looking it up. I'm looking it up.
it was like national headline news because it was so much egg on Zillow's face with their algorithm. And look, it has improved a little bit since then because that was a long time ago. But I just, it really is sort of a fool's errand to try to use an algorithm to determine the value of a house.
Yeah.
If that were the case, if we could do that, we would not have appraisers. And guess what? We still have appraisers. I'm going to be interviewing one this month in August for one of my ones where you're making me do this by myself.
Yes, I sure am.
And I'm gonna talk with appraisers about this very thing because they are
Look at
still
this.
needed.
Yes, it's true. Zillow's former CEO, Spencer Raskoff, sold the Seattle home for significantly less than the Zestimate value. The home was sold at 1.5 million, while Zestimate said it was 1.75. Difference of $700,000. It highlighted potential inaccuracies of the Zestimate, even for that Zillow executive. Crazy, 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 crazy.
Whoops.
Several factors contributed to the discrepancy, including unique characteristics. What did we just say? And some of the things of that nature. But yeah, man, whoops.
Yeah.
I never want to laugh at someone's downfall or something negative related to that, but it did definitely paint a picture that we're not here saying we're perfect, but we're definitely saying we're not going to cost you 700K if you're working with the right realtor. Like, come on, guys, let's go with this.
Yeah.
Let me touch base a little bit on the Zestimate and what people also just assume when they're looking at Realtor.com or Zillow. A lot of buyers and sellers will look across the board and go, in fact, I've had this happen 12 times in the last week. I'm seeing the market must be slowing down for you. Bad market right now, huh? I'm seeing a lot of price drops on Zillow, a lot of price drops on Realtor.com. Do you even know what that means? Do you even know why that could occur? And we talked a little bit earlier about how there's unrealistic sellers who want to list at what their buddy John got down the street a few years ago. There's a lot of uneducated realtors who are unfortunately stepping into this game and not knowing the nuances of the market, or this is new to them, right? This is a new market that they're not used to, and so many other things. So there's that. And then, so Zillow's not always that Zillow is not the finger on the pulse of what's going on in the market. It definitely says something, but let us tell you what it's actually saying. And we'll tell you if it really means that we're in a crappy position. We're not. If you're a buyer, we're in a great position. And then beyond that, let's just talk about TikTok for a minute, like, and Instagram. Oh man.
TikTok should
Okay.
say this is for entertainment purposes.
Yes,
Because it
yes,
is
yes, yes, yes.
entertaining. Yes, I will give you that it's entertaining. But boy, I don't know
Yeah.
if that's where you want to be getting your news and your stats about the housing market. I mean, you know, when there was this tsunami warning, I
Yes.
saw many TikTok videos showing a tsunami wave washing up on Hawaii, and it
Yep.
was all fake AI generated stuff that
AI
didn't
generated.
actually
Yeah.
happen.
60-second clips don't explain taxes. They don't explain zoning. They don't go into detail about infrastructure. They don't go into detail about the nuances of negotiation. Yes, TikTok I love TikTok. I'm addicted to TikTok. You know, I'm addicted. I love me some
Yeah.
TikTok, but it's never going to tell me the whole story. It's so embarrassing too, because there was a thing that I can't believe I'm going to say this out loud. There's a thing that happened. My friend who begged me to get on TikTok for 3 years used to send me TikToks, and I'm like, I don't know what you're sending me. I can't open it. I hate that platform. I'm an Instagram girl. Finally, I made it to TikTok, and now I'm like knee deep in the algorithm. And I sent her something going, "Uh-oh, better da 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 da," and she goes, "Girl, that's from 3 years ago. Look at your sources." And I was like, "Oh, I guess I'm so new to TikTok that I didn't even know I had to research what TikTok was telling me." So it really put me in a position where I was like, "Ooh." Buyers and sellers need to know if someone on TikTok is leaning into a negative headline, some of that headline might be true. Look at the source, look at their style of content. They may not really be interested in growing their real estate business. They may be more interested in becoming a TikTok star. How would you do that? Go negative quick, and stay negative as long as you can, right?
Is
So
there even a
just
way to
be
see when
mindful.
somebody put something on TikTok? Like, I don't
Yeah.
even know when it
Yeah,
was
you
there.
go
It
to
could
the
be from
yeah.
okay.
No, you
See
have to go click on their profile. I learned this because I felt like an
okay.
idiot in front of my Click on the profile, scroll down, it shows you what you just watched. Yes, there's a way. So all of that to be said, 60 seconds isn't going to give it to you. Fear-based titles and angles are going to feed a narrative that gives the person the views that they want, but not necessarily you the information. It's an industry what we do, or sorry, the real estate industry is a craft what we do. It's an art form if you do it long enough, and it's a profession. We do this for a living. So those who you are watching, and if you're a realtor watching this, and if you're a buyer or seller, if you're watching someone online who makes money on the thing that they're absolutely blasting and blowing up, question their intent. It's not because they're so honest and upfront. It tells me that if they don't find a way to balance that conversation in their content and give you both sides of the spectrum, yes, be blunt and honest about the reality, but also paint a picture that gives people an understanding of what could be if something twists or changes. If they're not given a balanced approach, they're really just trying to be a TikTok or YouTube star. If they are balancing it, but they're leading with a clickbait headline, great, good for them. They're getting both ends of the spectrum, and that's awesome. But it's really important that you kind of just look at the source, if you will.
This is one thing I've really observed in you, Laci, is that you genuinely try to provide good content and information, and you do not care about clicks, views,
Okay.
subscribers. And so many people out there, that's really what they're after. They really just want to be like YouTube famous or whatever, whatever
Yeah.
platform they're on. And
Yeah.
I just, this is why I love working with you, is because you're definitely coming from a genuine place all the time for your clients and anybody who wants information about Las Vegas. I mean, some of it is not even real estate related.
Thank you. Yeah, it is my mission in life to really help. And I know that every realtor I've ever spoken to, when I say, why are you in this industry? They say, because I want to help people. And I say, help people what? If they don't know the answer to the what, then they're not really there to help people. They just are doing what that they fell into. I'm here to help people learn how to live their best Las Vegas life. Big part of that is realizing where to live, what to buy, getting a good deal, feeling solid in the community that they live in, feeling safe, all of the things that go into that. So thank you for saying that, Cody. And I know you have the same heart for the business. Okay. Can we talk about no more myths and just talk to the people in our audience who've been watching us this whole time?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So Raida Ross said, "Hey Laci, just in for a quick minute. I'm going to watch the full after my studio session." Raida, dude, thank you for tuning in. Super excited about you watching us on replay. Please drop it in the comments and let us know how we did, because you're watching on replay. Dante, love Vegas. It's still on my 1-year roadmap. I was able to find a great school for my son that has autism near North Las Vegas. I can't wait. That's amazing. And Sammy said, Dante, North Las Vegas is the best. I may be biased, but I love it up here. I want to take a moment. Thank you, Sammy. Thank you, Dante. And just say, realtors, I'm speaking to you right now. I'm speaking to buyers and sellers too. But realtors, if you're watching this, stop veering away from North Las Vegas. Stop assuming North Las Vegas is not good for your clients. There are bad myths and it's bad energy from past long days gone by about North Las Vegas that are absolutely not true anymore. North Las Vegas is busting ass very directly to build and overcome a lot of bull crap, if you will, in the industry that absolutely has nothing to do with that city and what it's about anymore. Do yourself a favor, go to my channel and watch North Las Vegas Part 1 and Part 2, because I'm going to tell you right now, North Las Vegas is where it's at, and they are not messing around. You better come back in 5 years and talk to me about North Las Vegas. North Las Vegas is leaving it on the table. So get with it and go watch my videos and educate yourself. And if you're a buyer or a seller and you've had somebody say to you, stay away from North Las Vegas, or some TikTok influencer say the same thing, I call bullshit. And I'm just going to say it right now. Sorry, Cody, but I'm going to call bullshit. And I'm going to let you know that you need to go watch my video. I'm going to do it with my
I've
neck
lived in
too.
North Las
So,
Vegas.
so have
I loved
I.
living there. It's great.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, I'm done. I'm off my soapbox. Alan. Hey, Alan. Oh my God, he's always on the channel. Hey, Cody and Laci. It was really nice speaking with both of you. I hope to find my home in the very near future. Laci, your lives is where my name is familiar. That's right. Oh my God, Alan, you're so awesome. You're always awesome about tuning in and giving us good insight. There's no questions here, guys, but that's okay. I'm loving all the comments. Mark Wiener, love your videos. Yes, it's me, Mark from Weeki Waki, Florida, land of the mermaids. I need to go visit Weeki Waki, Florida.
Let's see that.
Mark, scan that QR code. Let's set up a time for me to come and be a mermaid in the ocean nearby. I freaking love it. I really wish that there's, okay, here's a question. Isaiah Young. Hey, y'all. Laci, I sent you a text. I'm coming down next Friday and would love to physically walk a few models. Do we need representation you with us? Thank you and have a good day. Great question for both of our audiences today. I'm going to answer for my side. Thank you, Isaiah. I haven't seen your text yet. I will double check and see what's going on. And if not, I'm going to look for you and reply. I really, really, really think you need to have me or with you, me or someone from my team with you if you're touring new homes for one reason only. If you tour the new home and you really like one and you want to buy it, I cannot represent you in any way, shape, or form because I wasn't there with you or I didn't register you as my client prior to showing up and touring the model. There is a very strict law in Nevada. I don't know if it's everywhere else, but it's a very strict law about procuring cause. And the builders love not having to pay for my services and also love not having me wedging myself up their butt, asking questions and representing you in the best way possible. They love having a buyer who has no representation so that they can swiftly go through their contract, not explaining anything and not give anything extra if they don't have to, because you don't have anybody asking for it on your side. What's your take on that, Cody?
Well, first I'll say, if you're a realtor looking for the best CE class in the world about procuring cause, I have one called Commission Crisis that you should definitely be taking. It's a broker management one that if you're a broker, even it applies to you. But yeah, my dad was a home builder for 30 years in Las Vegas. I think his company, I know his company built more than 10,000 houses over that time in
Very
Vegas. And so I've been very close to this industry, and I can tell you that builders know really well how to make you feel like you're going to be taken care of as a buyer without a buyer's agent. And you can understand
Yep.
from the builder's perspective why that would be a nice thing for them to have. But really that sales agent works for the seller who's the builder.
Mhm.
And you should be represented as a buyer. There's a lot of things that you need representation on as a buyer, especially when the seller is not just some Joe Public guy, right? It's somebody whose profession is selling real estate, and they've done it
Mhm.
for a long time. They know what they're doing. So yeah, make sure that you have somebody there. There's lots of, we can have a conversation about all the ways to do that so that logistically it's easier, because like we don't want to make
Yep.
this be logistically harder for you or for us.
Right.
But yeah, that's definitely, I agree with you 100%, Laci.
And Isaiah, so here's the thing is I said it earlier in this live. It is my business model. It is law in my world that you have to be pre-approved to purchase a home before me or anyone from my team is going to physically spend time walking you through homes. Sometimes I can get a little dicey when it comes to looking at new homes, right? Because you might be here a year in advance of buying and not ready to pre-qualify for a loan. That becomes a gray area that we have to work through. And so what Cody's mentioning is there are ways for us to not that I don't want to meet you and hang with you. Trust me, I do. I definitely do. But I want to make sure this is all working towards the goal of your purchase. And you roaming around doing your thing is not always the best use of time. In fact, I want you to feel free to go and do that without having to be buried under my schedule. So sometimes, not all the time, there are ways for us to contact our awesome contacts at some of these builders who we've built amazing relationships with. It has taken 9 years to build strong relationships with almost all of the builders and get them to put your name connected to mine so that, yeah, you can go and look, no problem, have a great time. A lot of people will say, but I'm not buying for 2 years, so I didn't even tell you I was going to look. I'm sorry, I didn't even bother. I didn't want to bother you. Here's what that does is a lot of people think they're going to buy for not going to buy for 2 years, but they get lured in by those incentives and they walk through the door and they go, yeah, I didn't even bother telling you because I wasn't planning to buy, but then they told me about this 4.99, and I changed my mind and changed my plan. And then guess what? We're screwed on all sides, right? You might be thinking you're getting a great deal, but we've seen time and time again, those incentives go away halfway through the deal. You have to scramble. There's a lot of things that can happen that we want to protect you from. So if you are ever thinking about looking at new homes in Vegas, whether you're not buying for 10 years, you're never going to buy, I don't care. Call me anyway. Let me figure out a way to register you so that even if we don't meet, even if you go and look without me being around you, at least the builder knows we are working together, and they better be on minding their P's and Q's because they know I'm going to be wedged up their butt trying to make sure that you are protected and taken care of if you choose to change your mind or speed up that timeline.
Oh, dang,
Now,
they got Laci representing them. We better not try
there's a few of
anything.
them. Yeah, there's a few of them that get shaking their boots when they know I'm
Yeah,
coming. They love
exactly.
it. It's like,
Love
but
it.
the reality too is if you're a realtor, use what I just said, say what I just stated to your clients, because at the end, and get out there, get out of your damn house, get out of your coffee shop that you're working from, get out of your brokerage's office pen, and go build relationships with the builders, build genuine relationships with those sales reps. They will tell you when they have homes falling out. They will tell you when they have inventory coming up that nobody else is advertising, and they will look out for you if you bring them that business. So build the relationship. And don't forget, even if someone's not buying for 2 years, sometimes an incentive will change their mind real quick. It's happened to me
Yep.
probably 10 times, and it's really hard. Not only to say goodbye to that income, but also to say goodbye to the client who I know should have and gotten a better deal with me involved. I just know. So, okay, Cody, we have been talking for a minute. Isaiah, if you don't hear back from me, you better text me again because I don't see your text, but I'll double check. If anybody is watching this on a replay, please comment and let us know how we're doing. Give Cody a high five, tell him great job. This is day 1 of 20 days of us doing back-to-back live streams Monday through Friday, every single day on different platforms. Sometimes Cody and I are going to come together. Sometimes we're going to be alone. He's going to be alone on a live stream by himself. I'm so excited. Super grateful for you making the commitment to do this, my friend. You as a mentor have led me down a good path, a beautiful path in my career, and I hope to do the same with you when it comes to marketing your insane abilities, skills, and just the beautiful synergy community that you've built and what it's doing for our industry across the nation. I'm just so proud to be sitting by you right now on screen, and I'm just so
Thank
honored to
you.
be able to do this. And
I really,
today is day 1, baby.
I really do have a mission to provide to agents the environment for success that they deserve. For just looking at it
Yeah.
from a business perspective, if I just put my MBA hat on for a minute, business consulting perspective of our industry, there are some things that are just weird and kind of they're antiquated and they don't really work. And so it's been my mission, especially the last 5 years, to create something that really adds value to agents. We've coined it, we call it the synergy community. And it's not for everybody, but I'd love every agent watching just to click the link, set some time with me. Let me just tell you what I've put together so you can see if
Yeah.
you think it's compelling for you. But the mission really is to let agents be successful, because the better we are at our job, the better we represent clients, the better it is for everybody. It really is the case of a true win-win.
Yeah. Yeah. And what Cody has built drew a naysayer and someone who had been burned by this industry and by many, many brokerages, drew me in and has proven itself over and over and over again. And um, I'll forever be grateful for October 30th, 20, whatever it was, several years ago when I took your class. And I sat in that class and I said, oh my God, does he have the same mission I do? Oh my God, who is this guy? And that I finally was able to connect the dots and build you a space in my world to help educate myself as well as my clients in a big way. So thank you for tuning in. If you've watched the entire time, I hope you watched on 2 times speed because I speak fast, but Cody speaks a lot slower. So I hope that you were able to balance us. Looking forward to seeing you on Monday, my friend. We're doing one more together before Cody goes it on his own for a little while. And stay tuned. Subscribe to both channels if you're interested. We've got a few. Next week is all built out for Cody. I've got the weekend to finish my build out, but this is more about me pushing Cody than Cody pushing me. So help me push Cody down the path. And thanks again, my friend, for trusting me. Really appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks for pushing me.
All right, guys, we'll see you next time. We'll see you Monday with some really, really